What is the origin of the hammer of Thor, Mjolnir? Welcome to the Complete Story series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues of your favorite comic books, and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then, I read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. If you have been following, then you know where we are in this tale, but here's a fast rundown. Odin's son, the former Thor, was deemed unworthy of his hammer, and it fell to the moon. Jane Foster secretly took up the hammer, becoming the new Thor. She entered into a fight against Odin, who refused to allow a new Thor to take the mantle. But after proving herself to everyone except Odin, she entered into a battle to prevent a war from happening between the realms. Then, as her identity was about to be revealed, the hammer used magic that no one knew that it had, and took the form of Jane herself, allowing there to be Jane and Thor in one location. Mysteries didn't end there though, as the hammer told Jane that it wanted to show her its origin, and it took her off into the realms. In the distant reaches of space, there's a crack as the hammer pulls Thor through. At rocketing speeds, it slams into a building, tearing down a wall, and showing Thor a library. The man that can only be assumed to be the librarian floats down towards them, demanding to know why Thor would come crashing through his wall, before answering his own question. Thor is too arrogant to use the door. Thor inquires as to where they are currently located, as she looks at all of the books and all, and the librarian informs her, "We are in the heaven of heavens, in the center of infinity, home of the Parliament of Pantheons, and the High Holy Court. Built 4 billion years ago by the first of the Elder Gods as a place of divine fellowship and governance." Looking around, continuing her awestruck look, Thor can't believe the amount of gods that are here, and the librarian asks her, "Tell me, girl, why are you here?" Maintaining his stern gaze, the librarian looks at the hammer as Thor tells him that she believes it to be alive. Much to the surprise of Thor, the librarian snickers and tells her to follow him. He pulls out a book from the deepest and darkest reaches of the library, a place only a single candle is keeping lit. Thor looks at the book's title as the librarian reads it to her, The Storm. He then reads her the story of bloodshed and war that began eons ago. A time when a young warrior named Ulik united the clans of rock trolls and invaded the realm of the dwarves. It would have been a short-lived battle if not for Odin, the All-Father, leading the armies of Asgard to the fight. He didn't do it to save the dwarves, but instead he saved their minds and their forges. He, of course, won with great ease. To pay him back, the dwarves presented him with a gift, a token of their appreciation, a nugget of raw uru, the rarest of all of the mystical metals in the realms. It was so strong, in fact, that it was unsmeltable, and even the dwarves' forges could not craft it into a weapon. Odin looked upon his rock and felt that it was fitting. Whenever he would look upon this utterly useless thing, he would be reminded of the dwarves. The rumor is that uru is a relic from the creation of the universe, a piece of the rock of creation itself. But it is not the only thing that survived all of this time. No, there was also the storm. And it also went by the name the God of Tempest, or the Mother of Thunder. When the space sharks fled an area, you knew that it was coming. But if you waited for that, it was far too late. This is a sentient superstorm in space, and one day that storm's judgment was to come to Asgard. The Asgardians knew not what to do. While they had won many a battle, they had never faced a storm itself. Luckily, Odin was the All-Father, and the battle raged for many days. In the end, it was the Odin force that won out, and the All-Father had trapped the entire storm within a worthless piece of rock gifted to him by the dwarves. He returned the gift to the dwarves with one demand, that they forge it into a mighty weapon, the mightiest! And thus the hammer of Thor was created, the thunder weapon. Except the storm raged inside of the hammer, and it refused to allow the one who had trapped it to tame it. While he had won in the end, he had lost, because he could not wield the hammer without massive amounts of destruction. And so Odin locked it away inside of his vault until the day that it would find another, one that the storm itself deemed worthy. The librarian closed his book as Thor asked him if the hammer was actually alive, but sadly he told her, perhaps it was once, but not even the mightiest of storms could have survived that long trapped in that hammer. Thor reached out for it, telling him that it spoke to her, and then, as she grasped its handle, it rocketed her off into space again to bring her to parts unknown. A war is brewing, and she is needed to be in it. The librarian knew that it was coming, along with death and destruction. The journey of Thor is only truly beginning. If you want to keep up with the story of Thor, I will link all of the previous tales down below, so you can find out how we've gotten to this point to begin with, And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe if you are interested in the stories of Thor and what happened to Odin's son when he lost his hammer, as we will be covering that soon. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Comicstorian, and we can talk of the tales of yore. And I will see you next time.